2 days following Matt Tady's incredible experience with his son, the calendar page flips to November 10th. With it comes the promised cold front, bringing a much welcome change in the Whitetail woods. Back on the river farm, Mike Reed is continuing his quest for Dak. The bucks are moving as the mercury begins to plummet, but the steel gray skies break open with pouring rain, forcing the cameras to shut off temporarily. As the day progresses, conditions are great, but the day's action doesn't match the excitement, and Mike never sees a mature buck. "90 miles to the northeast, I find myself pushing ahead of the front. Making my first hunt out of state ever, I'm heading east to hunt Illinois with good friends Kane Gillette and Brad Housingay. After sitting on the sidelines for over a month, I make final preparation and the front rolls through, setting the stage for the coming days. November 11th dawns perfect. Back in southeast Iowa, team member Caleb Mason is up to bat, hunting near a bedding area known to hold a lot of does.
Well, good morning. Today is November 11th. It's Veterans Day. And we're just thankful for people that have served in our armed services, men and women that provided the freedoms that we have. So we are back in an area we call the Big Timber. Yeah, we sat here once earlier this year and had encounters with 2 nice deer, basically 100 yards or 120 yards that way. And this is the area that the Big Six died, shot the Big Six last year. So we've moved to this end of the farm. Matt harvested a split G2 buck a couple nights ago, or a couple mornings ago. He kind of occupied the south end of the farm, and then we have a couple other deer on this side of the farm that we're going to target. It's kind of a bedding area, so we're hoping that they're going to be circling this area. Temperatures have dropped 30 degrees in the last couple days. The conditions are right, but it's that time of year, so hopefully we can catch one cruising looking for a doe. It seems like they kind of go around this lip that we're on, so our scent's kind of blowing down into this little bowl. We'll put in pretty much an all-day set today if we need to. So Matt packed us a bunch of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, so we'll have energy to punch it out if we need to today. He's following that doe. He's a good one. That's the one that ran across the dike, I think. Let's get him across here. Yeah, there's a doe there. One drop, two.
The hot doe leads the shooter buck away and out of sight. With deer all around him, Caleb remains on the edge of his stand. 120 miles to the east, myself and Midwest Whitetail intern Hunter Wood are set up for our first hunt of our trip.
Well, good morning, guys. It is November 11th, and it's been well over a month since I've been in a tree stand with a buck tag in my pocket. Last time I left you guys, I talked about how I was going to have to wait till late December. That's when my late muzzleloader tag kicks in Iowa. But Hunter and I are set up in a tree stand in the state of Illinois, and this is my first out-of-state hunt ever. Very blessed to have a friend in Cane Gillette. He invited us over to hunt, and hopefully we're timing it just perfect. It's been very hot in the Midwest the last couple of weeks. When we left Iowa, it was raining. Got to Illinois, it was 75 degrees, and then after that we had a tornado warning. So Hunter and I were up most of the night editing, getting some shows done, and now we're in the stand. So got a week of hunting ahead of us, and we'll see what happens. There's gotta be something behind her the way she's running. Yeah. He just popped back out. He went around the bend, dude. There, like. Well, it's about 7:30 here, and just saw our first chase of the morning. Looked like a good 3 or 4 year old 8-pointer. Came through quick. We saw a doe pop out. We were just waiting to see what was behind her. Sure enough, he came flying out of there. He's a good-looking deer. It's good to see that. I was just about to rattle, but glad we held off. So these gunshots got me on edge. Never know when they're gonna come, and they seem really close. But firework. That's definitely a fire. I'll tell you this: our Illinois hunt has kicked off with a bang. Or 50. That's what we live for, man. Never gets old.
It's 1 o'clock here, and we are going to pull out of this stand, and I think we're going to do is move that way. We were just slightly out of the game this morning. A lot of deer came back here, but a lot of them hung up 80, 100 yards away, so we're going to try to go that way. The deer that we're after took a doe, and they could be out in that CRP. So he's kind of locked down on her. So we're going to see if we can press in and try to be careful in the event that they're out in the thick CRP, they're bedded down or something. So I had a little bit of midday movement here, a couple small bucks cruising through the area. So definitely a good sign, but we'll take care of business and we'll get set up in a new position for tonight. let's go right here. I think we've got a clear shot in through here.
Here he comes.
Grunt.
Here he comes. Here he comes.
The short 410. Caleb.
Nice job, buddy.
You got your mic on.
I know. Could you hear me breathing heavily?
I couldn't move.
Oh my gosh, he's literally, he's 18 yards from us the whole time. Right there. There's just so much junk in the way.
Oh my God.
Can you believe that just happened?
I got him. I got a ton of footage, dude. So.
Oh my gosh. That was crazy. Well, I saw her on the edge over here, and I looked up and I was like, oh, it's just a doe. And then I saw his body to the right of her, and I was like, oh, big buck, big buck. Oh my gosh. That was crazy.
Nice job. He wanted to stay downwind of her.
Yeah. Dude, I was like squeezing up next to this tree. You know, the doe just came out over here. There's a little bit of cover, but yeah, I was basically squeezing as tight to that tree as I could, and I was kind of inching around the side like this. I was really watching her more than I was watching him, because she was kind of out milling around. She was lifting her head, and he wasn't really paying attention to anything but her. So, holy cow. And I mean, he's only 15 yards away right here, but there's just too much brush through there to try to squeeze a shot in. There's my arrow. Oh. Look at that brute. Awesome, man. We're gonna get a tag on this brute, get him cleaned up and drag him out to the lane about 30 yards over here and get some nice pictures of him. Couldn't be happier. Definitely not how I thought the story was going to go today, but definitely excited that it ended up this way. So here's the deer we call the short 410, and it just happened that he came by, and we were able to really put together kind of a tremendous hunt, like something I wouldn't have, definitely something I wouldn't have scripted, but we were able to pull it together and harvest this brute. So couldn't be any more happy, any more thrilled with this. Thankful for my partner in crime, Matt Tatey, for joining along, and we really look at this as like a team effort. So excited for Team Mason and Tatey to get 2 of our target deer down this year. Thanks for watching Midwest Whitetail.
"198 miles to the south of where Caleb Mason is celebrating, Mitch Mollerus is heading to his stand after a brief stint at work, continuing his quest for the ancient buck known as Tigger.
Well, it is November 11th, and me and Justin are back in here after Tigger. We've had several encounters with him out of this tree, but we just can't seem to get the job done. We've had him in bow range once, but it didn't work out. He didn't come out from behind this branch, and by the time he did cross over into the field, he was about 60 yards down, so just a little too far for me in bow range. So we've had a major cold front roll in last night, but we checked the cameras, and the cameras are extremely slow, so we really feel like the bucks are starting to lock down on does. And we're not expecting a whole lot of movement this time of year. We just need him to get up on his feet and come through here this evening in bow range. We're getting down to the very end. We got tonight, tomorrow, maybe hunt Friday morning, and then rifle season starts, so we're trying to get it done with our bows before then. Get settled in. Hopefully this cold front gets these deer up on their feet a little earlier tonight and gives us an opportunity.
Like many hunts before, the corn in front of Mitch begins to load up with deer. 160 miles to the north, Jared Mills is making a move on the river farm after his cutty-back cameras reveal a midday surprise.
It's about 2 o'clock now. We had a good hunt this morning, just no good bucks, but we got the makings of potentially an exciting hunt this afternoon. After getting down this morning, I slipped up the slough to pull a card on a camera. Got back to the truck and found out Marino was on that camera at 7:30 this morning, which is only a couple hundred yards away from where we were hunting, and so we've circled all the way around. We're about the equal distance on the other side of where we got his picture for the evening hunt. Shortly after we climbed up, we spotted a couple different bucks out here, about 150 yards away from us, one being the 4-year-old crabclaw 10 buck. He's a pretty deer. He's just kind of hanging out. I'm not sure if he has a doe bedded out there. He's just been standing there for a long time. But they're pretty dang close to where Marino was this morning, within 50 yards, I would say. We're getting to that time where most of the mature bucks are going to be with a doe. They don't go very long without one. So I'm almost hunting that doe's movement tonight. So that's the game plan. We'll see what happens. We got a little over 3 hours left. lot has transpired in the course of an hour since the last interview. I look up and see Marino coming right at us. And it looked like he was going to come right down the center of this plot. He's just cruising. The closest he got was probably 70. I could tell he wasn't coming into range. And I thought about calling to him, but he was just too close. I didn't think that would work to call to him that close. So I let him cruise all the way by until he got out about 100. Got behind a little brush and I gave him a couple soft grunts and he heard. And where I called to him, I tried to give him a good lane. There's a lane that we drive on, and I was trying to give him a good lane so that he could try to get downwind of us and we'd have multiple shots before he hit our wind. But he didn't follow that script, and that just a typical move of a fully mature 7.5-year-old deer. He crosses the fence. He disappeared for a minute or two. But what he did was he crossed his fence, got out in the ag field even further away from us to get downwind of my calling. That's just unbelievable. I mean, that's how a deer lives, to be 7.5 years old doing stuff like that. And then I see this fully mature 6x5 cruising across too. Just about 5 minutes ago, I see Crab Claw 10 get up out of his bed, and he bred a doe out there, so he actually did have a doe. And I think the most amazing thing is that Marino cruised by within, 80 yards with the wind blowing right to him from that estrus doe. I can't believe he didn't go check that out, so I'm wondering if potentially Crab Claw 10, who's a 4-year-old deer, there's a good buck right here. It's gonna be a 6x5 probably. There's that 6x5. Did something similar to what Marino did, but what I was saying is I can't believe that Marino walked by that, and I wonder if that Crab Claw 10 buck could have beat him out earlier today for that doe, because that's right where they were this morning. There's pretty much a 0% chance of Marino coming back, and I've thought about getting down, but I can't think of anywhere I can go sit up this quick, and who knows where he's gonna go. So I might just sit back and see how many bucks we can see tonight. Just crazy. Marino beat us again. Marino out in by the willows. See him? He's pushing a doe. Yeah. Must be another buck out there though. Walking right at us. Careful, 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 careful. worst sight in the world right there, watching a buck like that coming in and then watching him blow twice because he caught us. I don't really know what happened. I'm assuming he caught one of us moving. I feel like we're hidden decent. Last time we hunt here, we cut these cedar branches and brought them up, and then today we brought a few more just to add a little more cover. And I was looking through cedar branches trying to keep track of him, so I don't know. Man, it looked like we were about to get a second chance. He was running bucks off. I can't even keep track of how many bucks we've seen tonight. It's been incredible. I mean, this is the best hunt that I've had this year for sure. As that weather snapped. We had such a long stretch of warm days and finally got the cold weather, and I think every deer is up and moving right now. We have literally watched deer the entire afternoon. I felt like we had a chance today, but he beat us, and I mean, I'm gonna try to see if I can get creative and figure out a spot we could possibly get on him again. It's a big 8 right here. In the front water. See him?
Back on the northeast Missouri cornfield, Mitch's action remains steady.
What's he doing? Is he coming? lot of time, go back, get with Tyler, watch the footage. Shaking like a leaf. I feel like there's no way we're not gonna find that deer. I mean, the shot looks like it's right in there. I might be a little far forward considering the angle. I'm worried about that, but I can barely hang on in the tree. That is the deer we've been chasing the last 2 weeks. He went into this little pocket right here of timber, and I heard him walking there a little ways and haven't heard him since. I would say he's down, he bedded. We're gonna get down here in a few minutes and try to get out of here and let him lay. Make sure he's down for the count, and then we'll come back.
Well, it's about 11:30, and me and Justin just got in here to start the track job on Tigger. How that deer got off the field, I do not know. And then we come in 2 hours later, and we ended up jumping him. That's not a good sign. That's not what I like to see. We'll see if how this plays out, and hopefully we can get our hands on him. I'm sick to my stomach. I don't even know what to say. Well, we finally got him out here. Got him out of the thick stuff. We can get a better look at him. I don't even know where to begin with this deer. He showed up middle of October, and when he showed up, immediately knew what deer it was. Typically, he shows up and he'll maybe give you a few pictures, and then he's gone. And he may pop in periodically throughout the rut, but it's never a deer that you could ever really target on this farm. I don't know how many times exactly we've seen him on this cornfield, but as they started shelling the corn, he was really sticking to it. I honestly, you can probably tell by my reaction in the tree that I thought I smoked him. I thought this deer was toast. He went to the field, he went down, I could see blood rolling out of him. We got extremely lucky. I'm not gonna put it any other way. We got lucky that we ended up getting another shot on him and put it right where it needed to be and finished him off. This deer he is an absolute legend around here. I mean, his story starts from back in 2016 as a 3-year-old, and he looked like he had unbelievable potential. And then as a 4-year-old, he blew up. I mean, the deer had flyers, he had an extra beam over there, and that was a year he got shot with a rifle, and the deer lived through that. You know, this deer is unbelievably tough, and I should have known that going into when I shot him, that this deer wasn't going to go down without a fight, and he definitely did not. This deer is 7.5 years old at least. He is unbelievably tough, and I am beyond grateful that I get to wrap my tag around this deer. He is going to be a buck that this memory, it'll live on forever. I'm going to hang him in the house, and we will tell stories about this deer for the rest of our lives. This will not be a hunt that I ever forget. I'm very, very fortunate today.
Definitely something I wouldn't have scripted, but we were able to pull it together and harvest this brute. So couldn't be any more happy, any more thrilled with this.
That's just unbelievable. I mean, that's how a deer lives, to be 7.5 years old doing stuff like that.
This deer wasn't going to go down without a fight, and he definitely did not. This deer is 7.5 years old at least. He is unbelievably tough, and I am beyond grateful that I get to wrap my tag around this deer.
From what I've heard, a lot of guys gotten in some really good deer today. I know Caleb Mason put a buck on the ground, and then I believe that Jared encountered Marino today. And finally, Kane and Brad, I think, were on a good buck tonight. So, you know, like I said, even though we didn't get the chance to see a good deer, it's awesome to know that the team was into a lot of good action.
The dramatic shift in weather conditions brought by the recent cold front resulted in what could quite possibly be the single best day of action the team has experienced so far this season. Still riding the adrenaline rush of tagging the giant buck a few days prior, the elite duo of Matt Tatey and Caleb Mason continue their dream season. A true thriller of a hunt that reinforces the golden rule at this time of the year. Find the does and you'll find the bucks. Mitch Mollerus is on the other side of the coin, finally closing the chapter on the ancient northern Missouri buck, catching him in between the does. A true saga with 6 total encounters, the legend of this chase will be talked about for the years to come. Some legends, though, seemingly may never come to an end. Finally, Marino made his appearance, not just once but twice, and true to the story, he got away. Again. All Jared can do is hope that the buck will stick around long enough to write another chapter. The reset button has been hit, and the sluggish feeling of the whitetail rut has been replaced with a supercharge of momentum, propelling those of us with tags in our pockets forward. With the impending lull creeping closer, each day we must make the right decision. Where will the next hot doe be, and which stand do we choose? With just over half the month remaining, all we can do is hope to be in the right place at the right time, patiently waiting for our chance as we press forward, chasing November.